Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Total War Online Multiplayer Battles. Today we're doing a 3v3. Over there lies the enemy. We got a massive horde of look at these lines. Just endless, all clumped together. All the vampires, the elves, and the Bretonnians all in one. So, let's quickly get a look at the sides. So first of all, this is the layout of the map. We thought they'd be more to the left here, more centralised, but all they have over here is a few flying units, clearly to get around us, maybe get some artillery. And what they have is a big left flank. They're all focused this side. And that happens to be, where if we have a quick look, where I am positioned. With my small band of dwarves, to say the least. I really went for higher tier units more than I went for numbers this time. And it seems they just went for numbers. There's just so many of them facing down the barrel of my king. Look at this. Imagine just looking out at that with this little army and being like, alright boys, let's do it. Okay, so that's me. I'm the hard right flank. In the centre, we have my Bretonnian allies. They have some archers mixed in with some light infantry and some heavy infantry. They haven't really played for big moves. They haven't really got any huge units. They've got some ground knights, but that's about it. And then we have the wood elves with us as well. And they built a lot of range, a lot of way watchers and stuff like that. And look at these, some guards. But the big boy they have here, he's the main player. I don't know if that's actually Dthormu himself. It is Durthu, actually. And then, so yeah, that's that side. And over on the right side, let's get a closer look at this. We have the Bretonnians bringing in one, I believe that's a Blessed Field Trebuchet. Yep. So one Blessed Field Trebuchet. We got the King Luon Leoncoeur up on his hippogriff. And then on the left flank, they've got some Grail Knights themselves, supported by some Glade Riders with Hagbane tips. So they'll be looking to slow me down with this, and then hit hard with these guys. So I really got to watch my flank over there with the dwarves. Some men-at-arms shields, not really worried about them. Against my dwarves, they'll crumble pretty quickly. Foot squires, a bit more worrying. Just again, not hugely worried. Their range is where they have the advantage. Oh wow, there were 2 more units of Grail Knights hidden back here. And then we got the vampire counts, who are really looking to hit hard with these numbers. Look at all of this generic infantry, just no real high tier units from the vampires at all. Lots and lots of disposable units, which I suppose in a group setting is useful, because then you can circle and your allies more high tier units can get in maybe. But that's the thing, I don't think they brought many high tiered units. Look at this, they got some Wildwood Rangers here. They got some Eternal Guard, but they're pretty basic. So there's no one unit I look at in any of their armies that's in any way threatening, I don't think. Because if you look at what I'm bringing some big boys. We got some Longbeards and some Ironbreakers. Look at my center, it's just Ironbreakers with chevrons. In the back, I've got some Bugman Rangers to try and just be some fire support. On the flanks, I've got my Longbeards to be more solid, but yet they'll be backed up by Slayers, which are unbreakable. And obviously, believe they have anti-large. Yeah, they do, which is why I'm going to focus them on cavalry if I catch them. Up here, just have one unit of supporting cannon. This was mostly in case Vampire Knights brought along some big boys, like a Vargulf. But there doesn't seem to be much of an issue. And so I'm just going to give a play-by-play here of what's likely to happen, just so you guys. I'm not going to be focusing much on what my allies were doing, because I get an absolute storm of infantry coming at me on this right flank, so I'll probably be showing off a lot what was happening with me. We will check in with what's going on with the allies, but that's enough of an introduction. Let's stick it on play and see where everyone goes. So you can see, they're a little slow off the bat. Everyone's wondering where everyone is. I was moving straight away. I course corrected to say, oh, they're on the right flank. I need to reposition myself. And our allies do the same. The elves are the slowest to respond. I'm not sure what their plan was. But if we look over here, Bretonnians instantly decide they want me. They're moving off to the left and I go out to meet them. And the vampires and elves try and take the center. And that's where my allies are going to come in. This was a really interesting battle actually. I had to work quite closely with them. There's the Blessed Field Trebuchet, but that high armor on my dwarves means I lose a couple of units at most. Not that much, I'm not too worried. My leader has the aura buff on him as well that reduces magical damage done, so it's not like they're defenseless. So you see the Bretonnians spreading a nice long line to try and counter my rather shorter line, no pun intended. We got a exchange of range coming in here. See all these range units coming out to fire on each other. I don't know why the ally only send out 2. Again, it's because look at that, just absolutely decimated by that volley. Almost instantly broken. We got an early charge coming out from the Hagbane tips. They're going to try and whittle me down. So I pull back a bit here. I go, okay, if they're going to try and envelop, I'm going to be the strong right flank. I'm going to stop them enveloping by literally being a thorn in their side. Over here on the left, still a big push to try and keep this range exchange. But this is when the vampires come in useful. They act as cannon fodder. The high elves, the forest elves even, are not micromanaging well enough, and they're allowing these rangers to spend all their points. Look at this, what a beautiful play here. They waited for the Glade Riders to come out into range and then trapped them, and now just utterly decimated them. So this is looking just more and more grave for me. I feel like I'm on my own more and more. We got the flyers moving in over here. I believe with my cannon, all I tell it to do is try and take out some cavalry. Yeah, I believe I focus it on cavalry and range units. So I try and fill in the gap again, because I'm worried that these Bretonnians are just going to try and push through that middle. This Bretonnian leader really used well in this fight. He is all over me. So look, we got the flyers, they're coming in. Vampires keeping a strong reserve of cavalry. They're waiting for their moment. They're playing very well in terms of cannon fodder, but now they're allowing for an even exchange, and that's not the play they want. Keeping these elves in good condition is important. So here we go. They're moving on my flank. He's threatening with the general. So the first thing I do is I just get my rangers to hit them. Hit him. If I can break him, that's a big morale boost. Even if I can just weaken him, because I know Luon Leoncoeur, I don't believe he has a regen. And that was important to try and stifle that. And so out here, I forgot about these boys. They're my Scolder Guard. They will absolutely decimate if they get their shots off. So I decide to give them the chance by going out to meet them. I've got shields, I've got high armor, I can take their shots. Whereas these guys can't. So if I can get these guys in, we'll just see what sort of damage they can do. So let's slow it down for a second. So here we go, we've got some blast charges going out. Oh, look at them just fly in. Big damage from these. These are so important. The fact that Ironbreakers are such strong units, and then on top of that, they get this huge volley of fire damage of missiles. So it's not even like they're just, oh, I forgot about this. And here we have a spell going off. Don't remember who does it, but a Manticore comes, and this really complicated things for me. Because I'm already worried about my rear because of Luon Leoncoeur. And then I move some off to try and intercept these Grail Knights. Like I said, Slayers, anti-large, can't break, so I charge them straight at the Grail Knights. Intercept and destroy, that was the whole play. And as I said, this is exactly what I thought they do. They are stretching themselves along. They're making it so they can envelop me really easy. So I'm just trying to maintain this line. And these two are going to play havoc with that plan. Over here, the allies pulling off another trap on their horses. Not a great start. But they're winning overall in the centre, I'd say. The vampires have thrown in the fodder and they're just being thrown back. This is why weak units must be supported by other players. Look at this, it's just a pointless charge. They're just going to crumble. So all I have to do here is hold out time. I know with enough time my allies will come down to help me, but I have to be really careful not to be surrounded and caught out. So that's all I'm trying to do. So let's get back to it. Stick it back on play. Oh, it doesn't go that. Okay. Here we go. So here come my Longbeards, I believe, or they Ironbreakers. Ironbreakers. So they send in. Oh, I didn't notice that before. They send in cavalry straight away. But that charge is sort of blunted. Ironbreakers have charge defense against all. So all I'm trying to do is buy myself some time. There it is. The Manticore lands in. So I send in my Ethereal. to try and assist my rangers. Still got my Longbeards on reserve, and there he is. Leon comes in for my special units. And they'll try all they can, but they don't really have the ability to fight large. So I'm sending my Slayers to support that left flank, trying to intercept that cavalry, but that is intercepted by another unit of Grail Knights. Oh, and they just allowed them to charge into theirs for some reason. So they got some spells off. They're really playing this range game. They don't want to engage me directly, which is the right choice, but very aggravating for me. Ironbreakers doing their job, being just a steel wall. They really had an opportunity here to abuse my center. I've got a nice big gap in the lines, but you could also argue that I was holding back these Longbeards for just precisely that counter. But there we go, there's the big Grail charge that I was worried about. Slayers moving in to try and intercept, doing all they can, my leader as well. Still a lot of fire coming in, but look at this high armor, this shield. I honestly think that means they're doing more damage to their friendlies, look at that. It takes several shots to take one of my guys, and like none to take out theirs. So let's slow it back down and see what's happening over the battlefield. So over here in the center, still not have deployed their leader. But there's the Vampire Cavalry that he had in reserve, really going for these rear units, the Rangers. The Vargeists, they're already dead, already taken out. You never send in cavalry or flying units alone. Always support them with infantry, same with cannon fodder units. So the Grail Knights, as I said, just going to cause chaos, they're just going to be in my back line. Mostly I'm worried about Leon because he is just... These guys were my ace in the hole for their infantry, and look at that. He just ruined my boys there. No arms left for them. My leader, trying to do the best he can to keep control. He is a very big damage rune lord, so he buffs all the units around him, and he's very hard to break, which usually helps out with my Ironbreakers. They're sending in that center line now, but it's too late. They should have capitalized on that earlier. Ironbreakers still just holding the line, but they've got Longbeards in to help with them now. Over here, Slayers trying to take out the Grail Knights. And we got some help from the allies on this front now. More in the center, the lines are starting to merge. We got some fire coming over as they take out the cavalry. Oh no, these are Karen Wraiths, excuse me. But these guys are just chipping away at me, just bit by bit. This rear unit of cavalry ran away. I believe they're back here somewhere. Don't know where they went, but so instead they tried to move in some swordsmen. Which is frankly a mistake, because they're not going to win in a direct engagement against Longbeards. It's just not going to happen. Longbeards are vastly superior units. Maybe if they encircled me, but I don't believe they do. Let's get a quick... let's put this back on play and watch this fight play out. See what happens here. Look at that, he doesn't even care. Stabbed in the back, and bam! Fighting all along. They're just such tough units, Longbeards. So let's see what's happening. The cavalry are pulling off because the anti-large men and Slayers is just hurting them. The leader and the Slayers will now take on these Squires. Manticore pulled out. Look at these Ironbreakers, still just holding the line, even with a Manticore in the back. No breaking for them. Longbeards. These Slayers were a bit idle, it's because I was busy giving orders elsewhere. I believe I moved them onto this flank in a second. More Grail Knights just running through my line, this really causing more havoc. Leon reappearing, doing more damage to the few rangers I brought along. Whereas on this side, look at this. Longbeards breaking those swordsmen just as I predicted. I believe there are 2 units of them as well, still not enough. So now that's freed up this flank to come and intercept, which they will. And now if we get a better look over here, stick it back in slow mode just to keep tabs of everything. So you can see I am very much muddled in the forces here, just trying to hold them at bay, which I'm doing pretty successfully. Some cavalry has helped you out as well. So it's an even exchange. So our minor units in me are holding this side, and their minor units in the vampires are holding this side. It's just that exchange isn't fair. So the vampire units are much lower tier and they're not going to really get anywhere. Whereas my units are higher tier and they're really holding ground, they're exchanging blow for blow. I mean, just look at these Ironbreakers, still alive, still trucking, and these ones over here, I believe they don't break at all. So we'll head back to the action now. maybe try and get a good look at these Ironbreakers' last stand. Look at them wavering. 20 of them left. They are terrified, but I don't really count that, because that's just the presence of the Manticore. That's not really them breaking. But look at this. Just, they don't care at all. This thick armor, big shields. Just take all the arrows. Look at that. Four arrows on that shield. Doesn't care at all. Still in the fight. Manticore, not enough to make a difference, I'm afraid. There go the Ironbreakers. I do bring them back. A small charge here for some vampires, but I'm not worried in the slightest. Look at that. The allies are with me. Sending my leader in to help that last Slayer. And these guys, the Longbeards, are freed up to join in. And they do. These Ironbreakers having no problem at all dicing these guys up. Look at these men-at-arms. Don't stand a chance. I doubt their swords could even pierce the armor. There they go. And this is what I was waiting for. The allies have dealt with the vampires and they are just bringing in a whole wave of reinforcements. So holding the line has worked. So now it's a question of, can we defeat this last Bretonnian force? They're still causing chaos with Manticores, but look at all this fire arcing over. Just coming down on them. Wham! Look at that. The Grey Wizard still trying to make what spells he can work. And these Ironbreakers just don't care. These are Longbeards actually. Where did the Ironbreakers go? Doesn't matter. Leon Kerr still trying to cause chaos, but against Longbeards. Oh, the Grail Knight charge! Out of nowhere though. But I did have my armor buff acting. That ring that was around me before. And that armor buff made it so they did almost no damage, because even if their melee attack went off, they would have to go through the armor to deal any damage. Over here we got some retreating men. And look who's left standing. The Longbeards. And over here, look at this shot. Fantastic. Just slicing and dicing those guys up. These trees are awesome with their power. Absolutely love watching them in fights. Just gonna get a quick brutal engagement. So we'll slow it down again just to get another idea of what happened now. So at this point, where the range had come in from the allies, of really pushing on that left flank, the vampires are just breaking. The Bretonnians are getting hit with all sorts of range and it is just shattering them. Oh, there is the Ironbreakers over there, they're still around. So yeah, the Longbeards chasing off what's left. They ran out of ammo. They've just got no cards left to play. Leon Kerr trying to do what he can, but it's just not going to be enough. I did send my archers over here to deal with some Grail Knights where they get caught out, but it was a worthy sacrifice to keep them busy. So we'll just head back in and see how it ends now. Luon versus my king, instantly going to try and run away, which is a wise move because he would not win that engagement. Look at how little ammo they have left. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter in the slightest to my boys. They're just going to move like a tank force. Look at this. What are you going to do against such tiny warriors? Unpenetrable shields and armor. They do have Luon above and a Grail charge to boot. Oh, really going to break my morale. Going for the leader, but again, I popped my armor buff and it means that very little of that damage will have went through. And my leader just wailing away. Doesn't care in the slightest, and Longbeard still raring to go. Really nothing to worry about here. They just didn't have the manpower at this point. And as you can see, allies just cleaning up what's left. They're sweeping down the hill. And I am all but relieved at this point. My units are no longer needed. Oh, big squish from one of my Longbeards there. But look at this. Leader's raring to go. Chase him down, boys. Big hit there. And what do we have over here? A tree's heading back down the hill. Through the Longbeards. Where's he aiming for? Oh, he's made a turn. This is it. Absolutely terrifying, these guys. Look at that. Doesn't matter who you are, that's enough to send anyone running from the field of battle. Big damage. So to summarize this battle, I'd say Bretonnians didn't commit. They did try and push me, but they instead focused too much on standard engagements. They had the advantage of numbers, and they really could have pushed it. Instead they were just doing charge after charge after charge, and it just wasn't working for them. It's like I said, they had that opportunity to push to the center, and nothing. Look at my leader. Yes, right, impossible odds, and still pulled through. And at this point the Allies are just cleaning up what left there is. Still Ironbreakers in the fight though. Well, thanks for joining me guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.